Hey everyone, how are you today? Here we are going live in Facebook in our Expand Your Influence group. And oh my gosh, it's 1:11 p.m. here in Winnipeg on March 3rd, 2021. And our topic today is what are the two things that successful entrepreneurs focus on and learn to master in order to achieve a level of success. And I'm really talking about success in terms of converting clients into buying your product or service. Really, it's all about creating that income. Finding clients is one thing, converting them into purchasing a product or service that you have. And that's really what I'm going to be talking about today. So for those of you that are going to be watching live, I'm looking forward to hearing from you and receiving your feedback. Post your comments below. So I want to dive right in on the first thing, which even some of you, I would say, are aware of, and that is, who are you serving? Who is your target market? And here's the a bit of an Achilles heel for many of the clients and entrepreneurs that are in my community and that I coach and train. We're in the transformational field. We're providing personal development. Some are providing entrepreneurial business coaching and mentoring. And some are teaching technical skills. But really the community is solopreneurs, maybe micropreneurs even, working on your own and doing work that is in the transformational change field of some kind, or healing, the healing field. People that are doing yoga, Reiki, and other, there's so many beautiful modalities. So in this space, we enter into, and I know this from my own experience, with a mindset of, oh my gosh, this can help everyone on the planet. Whether it's directly to the person that, whatever the modality is that the problem that modality solves, to that direct person, or the people in their immediate circle of friends and family. So the mindset is, this is so life-changing. This is so world-changing. What I do and what you do can change the world, right? Yes, it can. However, the Achilles heel is that you don't get to change the entire world all at once. So the one thing that successful entrepreneurs in this particular space is, this is my space, so I can speak with experience, being 13 years as a sole entrepreneur, working full-time as a coach and trainer, and in particular around the foundation of neuro-linguistic programming, is this. You've got to pick a lane. You've got to pick and select a specific slice, if you will, of that target market, so that you can master delivering your product or service to that particular market, get the results that you received when you learned that technique or went through that process and it changed your life. That needs to happen. So successful entrepreneurs start with, first of all, knowing the importance of that isn't something that everyone kind of gets up front. They hear it. They may have learned that, heard others talk about it. The appreciation for the importance of that needs to be front and center. And so that's what I want to really clear up, is that this is not just something that we learn that there's several options and different ways to do your business. This is the key. One of the two keys is defining your target audience. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people in the transformational space, entrepreneurial transformational space, thought leaders, writers, speakers, and people who are doing healing modalities, which are so powerful and so needed right now on the planet, are generally, this is not across the board, in my observation, are generally quite random thinkers. Now, I don't know if there's a neurological scientific word for this, but and I put myself in this space, we love choices and options. We love to look at the world as though everything is kind of different, not maybe everything, but we seek to find difference. We love the contrast of things in the world. So our, types, if you will, that seek difference in the world will go into a forest and look at every tree as a unique tree. Every tree is different than the next tree. We will often even articulate those differences either, to ourselves as we're looking at them. This one's taller, this one's wider, this one has more leaves, that one looks like it has a branch that's dying. And we will notice all these differences, right? A person who doesn't have this particular filter and this particular pattern of processing the world will go into a forest and they'll see the trees. Yeah, there was a bunch of trees. They may categorize oaks from elms, from cedars, but generally they'll see trees. So they'll categorize all the trees and they see them as being very much all the same. So why is this important for me to be sharing is that if you relate to this first filter of seeking differences, it may not be the easiest thing for you to decide on one target audience, right? Because it means that you need to choose one particular type of tree to focus on helping. Yes, hello, Adeline. So wonderful to see you here. Some of this will resonate with you as Adeline has been through our NLP training programs. So a lot of our choices about choosing our target audience come from these filters, come from these patterns of thinking that are deeply ingrained in our brains. And but they can be changed. Number one, we can use NLP to actually massage and recreate new circuitry at that level. And so that's one way to stop oneself from consistently looking at the world as a million different things that need to happen at once, and looking at this world as you can fix every single person in the world with whatever product or service you have. So that's one way to think, using NLP to actually work on building your ability to be flexible in that area and be willing to let go of that desire to be able to work with everyone. Comes from working at the level of the pattern. The other is working with a coach or a mentor, trainer, somebody who is very good at helping you articulate who your target audience is. A lot of entrepreneurs aren't quite clear. They may have some of the pieces in mind. It may be that a lot of entrepreneurs have had a problem themselves. They have been, they've gone through a program or purchased a product that solved the problem, and they then want to be an advocate, and that's part of the business, right? So through our own transformation, we can then, focus in on who the target audience is. It's people like me, and you may even be one of those people that have said, my audience are people just like me. I am like my, you are the avatar for your client. If that's ringing true, that could be the case. It makes it a little bit easier, but it's not always true. It makes it easier to fall into that, categorizing your target audience as being who you are. It's not always true. So that's why working with a coach and mentor at the beginning of your business, and even as your business evolves, usually about every 5 years, your client, you are evolving, your client base is going to evolve. Working again with someone to clarify that. Then, so that's really key. And that is the one thing that successful entrepreneurs do is they figure out who that target audience is, knowing that they can serve the world eventually, but just not right now. And they do everything, every activity, every piece of marketing copy is written, every post is posted on social media. Every branding is done specifically to attract that target market. Okay, so let me give you a quick example of how there's probably a million of them, and one of them came up for me today that helps describe what I mean by this, and also the financial impact of not doing this one thing. And I have a second thing which I'm going to talk to you about as well. So I love real estate. I, as a younger woman, even contemplated becoming a real estate agent. My father was a real estate agent for, I think, about 10 years or so. And he always saw me taking copious notes, and he saw that I was a very good time management person. I really, very good at following up. I was very good at sales, even really early in my life. And he thought I would be just dynamic as a real estate agent. And he approached me several times for it. At the time, I was a single mom. Many of you have heard my story. And being a real estate agent is not something that is easy to do for people with children, even if you have two parents, because you're working many hours, odd hours, pretty much 24/7. So nevertheless, and I love real estate. I love looking at real estate. And I am also looking now at my next stage of my life and where do I want to live in my, next chapter. So I often look at condos, and I see, and I look at specific location for where I want to live first. And if I see something new that's come up, or it might be it's an ad for an existing build and someone is promoting something, but the languaging around it, the who it appears to be attracting seems to be me, right? So I read the languaging around that too, and I think, oh, that sounds really great. When I get to the website and I see the decorating that they've done in specifically the kitchen area, and also the color schemes they've used, it's not me at all. It's geared to a young executive or young professional, young newlywed couple, possibly with no children, maybe with baby on the way, or a toddler. Not me. And so there's so many things about that unit that I are complete turn off initially. I might stay on and explore a little, thinking, well, the location's good, the price is good, and I like some of the aspects. Maybe I could change the colors. And I try to force myself to like this condo. And in the end, it's been a waste of my time. And I realize there's so many functional parts of how they've designed the layout that I can't change, that wouldn't work for me. And some of the color things are the cabinets in the kitchen, or the island, or the countertops, or the color of the wood flooring that when you're buying new, you don't want to have to go in and have to change. And so I tune out and I click off. And this is what your clients are doing all the time, is if your marketing copy isn't designed specifically to them, it may be a little more generic, and there could be one thing in there that really appeals to them. They'll go and they'll click through, and they'll look at your landing page. They'll look at your social media content. And what they'll find is that while that one thing is true and it's there, like for me, it was the location, the rest of it isn't quite a match. So sometimes, because of some other factors, the price might be one of them. It could be the person that has inviting you is someone that you've been following and you like them and trust them, and you're kind of looking around and thinking maybe you want to work with them. However, as you get deeper into it, all those other aspects start to pop up, and there's a feeling around, can I make this work can I force myself to buy into this product or service and make it work for me? And that's what your clients are thinking from their perspective, because they may actually know you, they may actually trust you, and they may want to work with you, but they're not your target audience. So one of two things will happen. Sometimes they'll say, you know what, there's enough here and I'll buy into it, or they'll tune out and they'll be gone. And so all that effort that you've put in to your marketing, your branding, producing your product or service, if it's a workshop, training course, coaching program, whatever it is, has in a sense been wasted. And also you've watered down your messaging, and you're not attracting the ideal client that you can solve their problem. Your program and service is designed specifically for that demographic. So their problem is one of them, their demographic is another one. You know, who are they in their life? What is their lifestyle is one of them. What kind of career they have, perhaps. Sometimes it's an age range that you want to focus in on, hone in on. Not always, yet sometimes it is. And so for myself, my age range is, it used to be a lot broader, and now it's much tighter. It's 45 to 65. That doesn't mean that there aren't people coming into my programs that are 66 and 67 who still want to have a business or have started a business in their early 60s and are looking for that coaching and mentoring. And it doesn't mean that someone 35 or 40, wouldn't benefit from working with me. And they do show up in my programs. However, my target, who I'm speaking to, is that age group. Another aspect of what is important for entrepreneurs, and this is a little bit of a tricky one, so I'm saying with a caveat, as this is only from my own experience, is generally customers, clients, if you will, want to work with you when you have walked ahead of where they are and you have already solved the problem and are on the other side of it. And this is only my own experience, and this could be different for others. There's another approach to this where if it's you may want to be marketing yourself as someone who walks beside your client. So the demographic, the age group is a little tighter. So if you are working with women who are transitioning into being empty nesters is the term, and you yourself are still at home with teenagers, for a lot of people, it's going to be a mismatch. Not for everyone. They may love you, trust you, and part of your program may have other aspects to it that will support them. Generally, they will be wanting to work with you, that you had children in the home. You've been through the transition of them going off on their own, whether to college, university, or getting married, or leaving independently on their own and traveling the world, whatever it is. You are now an empty nester. You've been an empty nester for some years, and you've figured out how to make that transition in life. That's going to be very appealing and very attractive for women who are in the beginning part of that cycle. You are on the other side of it and you've completed it. So consider that in terms of really honing in on that target audience for you. Okay, that's just my opinion, my thoughts. And a lot of it comes from my own experience in my business, and who, when they come through my program, gets the best results. I would say everyone gets results. And where does it really come together and get really, really powerful results is when it's someone who is walking in the shoes that I was walking in. They're walking on that path after I've gone through it. So I've carved the path for them. Now I'm guiding them again through it the way I went through it, having proven that it works for me. So that's who comes through my program that I find achieves the best results. And secondly, that that I have the congruency when I'm sharing this information, that I know this works. I've tested it myself. unequivocally, I can say this stuff works because I'm now on the other side of it. This is what it did for me. So that's just what I've noticed. And also when I am looking to hire someone, that's what I'm looking for. So that's kind of the piece around the mastering the target audience. Now, here's the thing. You want to focus in on that one person. Some people, you call it the avatar of who you serve, or your target client, your ideal client, doesn't matter the words, long enough that you get the results, that you get the testimonials, that you have people, you have raving fans, that you have people who are willing to support you in joint ventures. They've come through your programs. They want to shout it out to their client base. And even to the point where you become a part of a community, right? This space that we're in are very much community-based, and that's a lot of the influence piece around the community. You want to do that long enough to reach a level of income. And I'll come back to that number that is really important to focus in on. And it can vary person to person. So I'm going to put that out there as possibly a benchmark for you. Okay. So that's the one thing. And that after you've reached that level of success, and I'm talking about the income piece because that's where my space is and my mission is, to support primarily women in business, because I find a lot of women in business are struggling to earn the income that they desire, and that will give them the freedom so that they can thrive in their businesses. After you've done that, you can then add in a second demographic, a second client avatar or target. Okay, so only after. Okay, so that's one things that successful entrepreneurs do. The second one is going back to what I said earlier, that entrepreneurs have this, and I've noticed this across the board. Many entrepreneurs are very, their thinking is very creative. A lot of creatives are entrepreneurs. We like a lot of difference in our life, so we tend to get bored or feel stuck when we're only working on one thing. It's like, we just love ideas and concepts and creative, and it's a part of the brain that is getting fired up. Well, because of that, a lot of entrepreneurs start off with a coaching practice. And maybe they haven't honed in on their target audience, so sales aren't coming in as much as they like. And they've always also had an interest in teaching a workshop on how to design your website, because maybe they had a past history in designing websites at their corporate or career job. Or they have done accounting or bookkeeping in the past, so they want to maybe create another little side business doing some bookkeeping and accounting for some clients. And or maybe they have a spiritual interest, and so they get into selling jewelry and crystals and aromatherapy oils, and so other things, which continues to water down the messaging. It then starts to attract other people outside the initial target audience as well, which means you have to service those people. And so the amount of time you have, the focus that you have, starts to dissipate, starts to get watered down. And time again, entrepreneurs will say that they're stressed, that they're burnt out, that they're not able to focus. They have a hard time getting momentum. And even at that stage, the motivation to do the business starts to get really stymied, and because they're overwhelmed with so many things. So there's a part of an entrepreneur that loves that creative part, that loves all those ideas, that wants to do different things, and it's interesting and it's exciting. And there's another part that wants to focus in on the one client target audience And so these two parts begin to compete, and it sets up an incongruency in neurologically, physically. It starts to affect the hormones, the brain chemicals. And so it's quite powerful. And it's really, really important to understand that this is just not a theory. This is not something that, yes, maybe we know about it. It's something to take quite seriously as an important part of being successful as an entrepreneur. It's going to have some water. So what I'm talking about here, the number 2 thing is mastering one core program or product or service. So if you're a coach and you coach, we'll go back to the empty nesters. You're coaching primarily women deal with this, this part of the life where the children are leaving the home and there's a sense of who am I and a sense of not knowing what to do. So let's say you're a coach and you've honed in on your target audience. So you're doing that well. However, in addition to your coaching program, you start adding in other products, other services, writing a book, creating some other training workshops and retreats. And all of this is wonderful. And all of this is useful and helpful for your clients. And yes, all of it will generate income. The successful entrepreneur doesn't take that leap into adding all those other things into the business until they've mastered the art of coaching that one target audience. So they are the go-to coach in that specific space. And now I said earlier that we're looking at this in terms of the conversion, sales, and income. What is that level of income that you want to strive toward achieving before you start adding in other audiences, other target audiences, and other products and services? I've heard 100,000. For you, depending on your life, your lifestyle, the time of your life, it might be more, it might be less. So 100,000 is, I think, a great place to start from. And it's an easy number to remember. And it won't happen. And I imagine there's some outliers out there that will claim to say it has for them, and I love that. And please post your comments and tell your success stories. Generally, it won't happen unless you focus on those 2 things. The exact target audience, get really clear of who that person is. What is the age range? What is the demographic? What kind of career did they come from? What is their education? That's another piece of this. It's not a judgment, by the way. None of this is about judgment. Where do they live even? Are they people that live in the core of a city or in the suburbs or in the rural community? These are all aspects of what defines this person's life and why your product or service is the one for them. So figuring that out. I've heard some people, what kind of car do they drive and what kind of food they like to eat. Well, unless you're selling vehicles or things about, travel, and that's not something that really I would add to the definition of your target audience. I would say much more around those things that I mentioned already. And then choosing one core product or service that that you are very good at doing already because you went through the program or training yourself, you practiced it and applied it in your own life to get amazing results that were also, starting to even generalize in other areas of your life so you can talk about the impact that has made for you, not only for yourself, it's impacted your community and other people in your life. That's amazing. And you have, reached that level of mastery, delivering that product or service to that one target base. And of course, you want to add in all the other things that need to happen. Your marketing, maybe you hire a marketing person, maybe you're doing that yourself. So you need the technical back office stuff. You need a decent website. You want to be engaging on social media. You want to be doing Facebook Lives. And you really need, and I say this because I don't know how else you're going to build your business, you need to learn how to sell. And that's the space that I support a lot of my clients in, is how to sell. And I teach people how to sell from the heart. You need to do that. Unless you can hire somebody to close your clients for you, or you have a funnel or something that just automatically brings clients through the door, which is possible. Most people don't have that. So those are the two things. And I've taken a lot of your time today. I thank you so much, Adeline, for staying on as long as you have. I appreciate this. If this is interesting for you and you find that this is valuable, and around the concept of how do you apply NLP in your life, how do you apply NLP in your business to achieve the results and success that you want, then join us at the NLP Cafe. It's called the Holistic NLP Cafe now. And we meet once a month. The next cafe is coming up on March 9th at 2 p.m. Central. I will post a link below here. And if you're not already in the Expand Your Influence Facebook group and the Positive Directions Facebook page, please go there and follow me there. And that way you will be able to hear about the cafe. So I hope to see you there. And when you come, you get to choose to attend one event completely free. So whatever event of your choice. And we have different themes every month. So come in, join us, enjoy, and have a great rest of the day and week. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. Bye-bye. See you, Adeline.